Okay, in this video we're going to be trying to deal with looking at different kinds of adapters to allow Canon and Nikon lenses to work with Sony NEF E-mount cameras. Now, I have a couple that I have for Nikon mount and a couple for Canon mount. And what I have here, for instance, is the, sorry about the noise in the background, it's July 4th, people are shooting off fireworks. But this is the FOTGA electronic lens adapter that goes from Canon EF and EFS lenses to NEX E-mount size. And it is a smart adapter. It has the connections there. And in trying it out on my Canon lenses, it works pretty well. And it has a tripod mount on the bottom for if you want to mount this on the tripod instead of having the lens or the camera bear the weight. But in hooking this up to a Sony NEX6 camera body, it's a simple enough matter. And I'm doing this with the camera off right now, connecting up the adapter to the camera, and it is a nice firm and solid type of connection there. No play, it doesn't seem to be. And I'm going to attach it here to this Tamron lens, which is a 28 to 300 zoom, and this is incredible because this particular lens here I was able to get at a local Savers discount store for $20, and it just needed a little bit of patching on the it had a couple loose elements on front which I was able to adhere back into place, and it works perfectly fine. So we line up the dots on there, give it a twist, and when we turn on the camera, it doesn't seem to want to do much now. I'll hook it up to autofocus, and you notice it does a little seek there. Now, one of the things I found about this, it sometimes may have difficulty in focusing when you want it. But I was able to determine that if I go to unmount it here just ever so slightly, just like a little millimeter, and then bring it back, it gives it kind of a little kickstart. And then it has an easier time with focusing on things. It is not a fast focus by any means, but it does a little seeking there, and then gradually tick, 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 gets into place there. And so it's not something that you'd be able to use for like flying birds, moving animals, because it doesn't continuously track, at least for me with my particular lenses. It has to, I have to press it down each time. But it still manages to work, and if I'm focusing on a small animal that's not moving around too much, or some stationary subject, then it can work just fine. And so that is that connection. I will turn this off, and so I will put the FOTGA adapter away here, and I will, I think this is the, yeah, get the right caps for these things. Okay. And the other one for Canon that I was trying out is, I think that's supposed to be like Haug. It's difficult with some of these names as to what they, how they're supposed to be pronounced and so forth. But this one here has its own aperture ring on it. And it can go, it's a nice multi-blade system. There gives a nice smooth bokeh. But because of the depth of this, it may not work with just any type of lens. In fact, with my experimentation here, so far it's worked best with my Canon 50mm 1.8 because it's if it's flush there, the elements here don't necessarily run into the blades there. But also, in mounting this on there, it's a prime lens, of course, and the aperture blades of this, of the adapter, do come fairly close to where the actual focal point is of the lens, which does help when you can have the that aperture as close to where the actual focal point is. And this lens, I tested out, it in working with the aperture control on here, it does seem to want to give you nice edge-to-edge imaging there. Now when I start to put the aperture, close the iris down there, it can affect, you can see at a certain point here, it starts to affect the speed more and more, and even the brings down the light there. And there is still, it doesn't seem to be producing vignetting. And that's because its aperture is fairly close to that focal point of that lens. On other lenses, it tends to, since the iris is further distance from the focal point of particular lenses, especially like zoom lenses and so forth, then you start to get vignetting throughout it. So you'd have to, this works best with a lens that is, where the focal point is fairly close to the actual aperture here, and where this depth here isn't too deep, so it doesn't really run into that much. So that is the one for that, and this is a dumb adapter. It's just the iris control here and the mount. And we got some more of the fireworks in the background, but I'll still try and work around that annoying aspect. And now I will attach a couple of different types of Nikon adapters I have for here. This one is by Fotka, and this one here is for Nikon mount. And this one here is an interesting one because it gives me some potential perspective control. It looks in fairly well. This is a 19 to 35 millimeter Tokina lens, and both of my adapters for Nikon, I got them with utilizing them with wide angle lenses particularly. Now with this particular adapter, you loosen up this ring here and loosen up a little more, and you can see that you can move this around like that. It'll change the plane of focus for you, much like you could on a view camera, and allowing you to maximize depth of field utilizing the Scheimpflug principle. But I can lock that back into place here temporarily. I may not get it straight right away, but you get the idea. And so I will see if I can offer some pictures that I've taken with these different adapters as to what you can expect from the use of the different adapters in different situations. I'll take this vodka off, and in here I have a speed booster type of adapters by Filtrox, and it has reducing elements within it, and it even comes in a very nice box there, which protects it very well, and a little screwdriver for if you need to adjust the focus to infinity on it. And so let's connect this up to the camera first, and then the lens to the adapter. Now, because it has reducing optics in it, that is a speed booster type, it allows the use of bringing in more light and more of the image circle of the lens and focusing it onto the camera's sensor, which in this NEX camera is a APS-C size sensor. And utilizing this adapter, it allows this 19 to 35 lens to actually act more like a 19 to 35 lens would be on a full frame camera. But I get that same type of effect with this, and it has the benefit, because it brings in more light, more area, that it can give you also faster speed, apparent speed to the lens, giving you a result of, reportedly with many people, of up to like a full stop extra of light. And so that's one of the other reasons I got this, is that to be able to utilize, get the full range of the 19 to 35, the really wide angle on APS sized sensor. And in turning this on, you can see that it does give a nice wide field of view, and a great deal of infinity focus there, even when I'm focusing close. And so it gives me the full wide angle effect. And then here going more towards 35, and you can see the focus peaking, working with that. So you get the idea.